So here's the thing, if I do my job correctly, someone will have their lives quite changed by the information I give in this video. Right now, in our modern culture, there's a lot of talk about neurodiversity, with an emphasis on autism and ADHD. But there's a kind of neurodiversity which doesn't get a lot of attention, which absolutely fascinates me, and in fact, one of my closest friends has it. It's called aphantasia. Aphantasia is the inability to voluntarily, mentally visualize images, to see something consciously with your mind's eye. Like many forms of neurodiversity, it exists on a spectrum. If you take a look at the diagram below, you can see that for some people, they can produce absolutely no visual image whatsoever, whereas for other people, it's quite straightforward for them to visualize something in extreme and vivid detail. There's even a phenomenon called hyperphantasia, with people who are particularly good at conjuring and manipulating vivid images consciously. The spectrum isn't just to do with vividness, it's to do with things like detail, or color, or depth, or the manipulability of the image, and so on. It's quite nuanced, like most forms of neurodiversity. Some aphantasiacs can still see vivid images while they dream, some can't, but the commonality between them is that they struggle consciously picturing something when they're awake. Now, if you're listening to this, there's a chance that this is new information to you. That when you hear people say, "Oh, I can picture that," you took that as a turn of phrase because your imagination works differently. You might experience thoughts more conceptually as opposed to as pictures. This doesn't mean you're not imaginative. Quite the contrary. My friend who has aphantasia is extremely imaginative. It just means, as with many forms of neurodiversity, your brain works differently. I imagine I'm pretty average when it comes to the ability to visually picture images, and the best way I can describe it to my friend who has aphantasia is that it's kind of like switching the channel between my eyes and the sort of internal cinema of my head. Like right now, if I'm picturing an apple, I can see it, but then I sort of have to not pay attention to the visual images I'm looking at. That might not make any sense, that's the best I can do. Me and my friend talk about this all the time because we find it so fascinating how differently our brains process things. She discovered she had aphantasia, she only heard about this concept when she was in her mid-20s. And in our first conversation about it, I said to her, I went, wait, how do you navigate? How do you know where to go if you're thinking I need to get to the shop? Because if I'm thinking, all right, I need to go get groceries, I can picture and sort of see the route I need to go down. And she says, no, I just sort of know, I intuit, I have a sense of where I need to go. And she's really good at navigating, way better than me. She's also a fantastic artist. Her brain clearly can process visual images. I would actually say her brain's probably better than mine at processing visual images, but she doesn't consciously experience that processing. It's like her brain codes things differently. The current estimates are that roughly 2 to 4% of the population has aphantasia, but it might be underreported because not a lot of people know about the concept or discover it later in life. So if this is that moment for you, you're welcome. And I would really be curious to see, if you're watching this, whereabouts on the spectrum do you think you sit?